Learning English was always my dream. I wanted to speak fluently. I wanted to understand movies without subtitles. I wanted to travel and talk to people easily, but there was a problem: I didn't know where to start. One day, I decided to begin. I bought a notebook and a dictionary. I wrote my first word, hello. It was a simple word, but it felt powerful. I repeated it again and again, hello. 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 It was the beginning of something new. At first, learning English was exciting. But after a few weeks, I felt frustrated. I learned many words, but I forgot them quickly. I tried to memorize long lists of words, but a week later, I couldn't remember them. I thought, maybe I will never learn English, but then, something changed. One day, my teacher gave me a tip. She said, don't just memorize words, use them. She told me to learn words in sentences. Instead of learning apple, I learned I like eating a red apple. Instead of learning walk, I learned I walked to school every day. This method changed everything. A few weeks later, I was at a cafe. I saw a tourist looking at the menu. She looked confused. I wanted to help, but I was nervous. What if I make mistakes? Then I took a deep breath. I walked up to her and said, "Can I help you?" She smiled and spoke slowly. I listened carefully. For the first time, I had a conversation in English. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. And that made me happy. After my small success, I felt more excited. I wanted to improve my English even more. But I knew one thing: learning a language takes time. So I made a decision. I would practice English every single day. At home, I started talking to myself in English. Every morning, I looked in the mirror and said, "Good morning. Today will be a great day." At first, it felt strange, but I continued. I described my day out loud. Now I am making breakfast. I am eating toast and eggs. Talking to myself helped me feel comfortable with English words. But I knew that real practice was outside my home, so I started using English in my daily life. At the supermarket, I read food labels in English. At the bus stop, I listened to English podcasts. At the cafe, I ordered my coffee in English. One day, I walked into a bookstore. A woman asked me, "Do you know where the English books are?" I took a deep breath and said, "Yes, they are on the second shelf." She smiled and said, "Thank you." I felt proud. Speaking English was becoming easier. Sometimes, I made mistakes. I forgot words. I mispronounced things. But I didn't feel bad anymore, because I realized something important: mistakes are part of learning. Every mistake is a lesson. Every lesson makes me better. So I stopped feeling shy. I stopped being afraid. I just kept practicing. I also improved my English by listening a lot. I watched English movies with subtitles. At first, I didn't understand much. The words were too fast. But I didn't give up. I listened again and again. After a few weeks, I understood more. One day, I turned off the subtitles. I was surprised: I could understand most of the movie. I smiled and thought, wow, I am really learning. I also started writing in English. Every day, I kept a small notebook. Every night, I wrote about my day. Today, I went to the park. The weather was sunny. I saw many people walking their dogs. Writing helped me remember new words. It also helped me think in English. And the more I wrote, the better I became. One afternoon, I went to a language cafe. I met a girl named Lisa. She was also learning English. We decided to practice together every weekend. We met at a coffee shop and spoke only in English. Sometimes, we made mistakes, but we helped each other. Having a friend made learning more fun. And it made me more confident. After a few months, I noticed a big change. English was no longer scary for me. It was part of my life. I could speak more easily. I could understand better. And most importantly, I enjoyed learning. I realized something. The secret to learning a language is simple: practice every day. Don't be afraid. And never give up. Every day, I practiced English. I listened to songs. I watched movies. I wrote in my notebook, but there was one thing I still found difficult: speaking with confidence. I was afraid to talk to native speakers. What if I made mistakes? What if they didn't understand me? What if I forgot a word? These thoughts made me nervous. But I knew I had to face my fear. One day, I decided to be brave. I went to a small cafe. I saw a tourist looking at the menu. She looked confused. I wanted to help, but I was nervous. What if I say something wrong? Then, I took a deep breath. I walked up to her and said, "Do you need help?" She smiled and said, "Yes, please." I helped her choose a drink. Then we started talking. She asked me, "How long have you been learning English?" I said, "For 6 months." She was surprised. "Your English is very good," she said. I felt so happy. For the first time, I had a real conversation, and I didn't feel afraid. I realized that one of my biggest problems was translation. I always translated words from my language to English. This made me slow. So I decided to change my habit. I started thinking in English. When I walked in the street, I described things in my mind. The sky is blue. The trees are green. That man is wearing a red jacket. When I ate dinner, I thought in English. This rice is delicious. The soup is hot. I like this food. At night, before sleeping, I told myself, today, I spoke English. I learned new words. I am improving every day. Thinking in English helped me speak faster. It made English feel more natural. One day, my teacher gave us a special task. She said, "Next week, you will give a short speech in English." My heart started beating fast. A speech? In front of the whole class? I felt scared. But then I remembered, mistakes are normal. So I started preparing my speech. I wrote my ideas in simple sentences. Then I practiced in front of the mirror. I talked to myself. It helped me a lot. Every day, I stood in my room and said, "Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah. Today, I will talk about my journey in English."